week one mount, we're going to start with a warm-up drill that I like to do, just movement around the body, and we're going to focus, kind of finish it with mount, take, and then dismount. So we're going to start here in side control. I'm going to try to make sure that she only can go the direction that I want her to go. So this is about controlling her body. So I'm going to start with my knee blocking one side of her hips and my elbow blocking the other side of the hips. From here, I'm going to move towards north-south. Right? This is the opposite of mount, but it's still where we're going. So as I move towards north-south, I'm going to keep her hips blocked, and I'm going to move to the other side of her head here. As I do this, now she can only move the direction I want, right? She's stuck. So now I can move this hand and block the hip on this side. This lets her hips move, if she wants to, into my north-south. As I come around the corner here, I'm going to keep her hips blocked with this hand until I block the other hip with this hand. Now I can come to the other side and get her head on this side. And we're going to move around the corner here until I can block the hips again here. Now from here, we're going to go into mount. And from mount, let's go this way. From mount, to get to this mount, what I want to do, I'm going to start by putting my knee into her hip pocket. Right? So my first step here, I've got her arm trapped. I don't want her arm inside. If she's got it inside, I'm going to clear it here. And then from here, I'm going to go knee into hip pocket, and this should make it so that I can start to drive her arm up. Once I get her arm past 90 degrees, I'll slide my knee all the way across her hips. And now from here, I'm going to move at the same time my arm across and my leg over. And I'm going to point my toes up, and I'm going to flop my leg to the mat at the same time that I move my arm across. So it'll look like this. Right, so here I've got her elbow trapped and pushed over, and this is going to give us a better spot to start in our mount. Now, if you don't get this in real life, that's what it is, but for this drill, I want to come into mount, I want to have the arm up. Now we're going to go and reverse the whole thing. So I'm going to bring my toes up, loop them over. Now I should be able to slide down off a mount. I'm going to block the hips again, come around the head, and I should be able to move around, still blocking the hips. Now I can switch to block the other hip, block hips again, take the head, block the hip on the side with my knee, chop the hips here, come in, I can clear this arm, and I can go to mount. Come up here, cross, and I come into this mounted position. All right, from mount here, ideally we've come into mount just like we just showed in our warm-up drill, and the arm is up. The reason for that is it's going to take away a lot of her bridging. And one of the things we want to do as we start to attack the mount is isolate limbs, whether that's the head or the arms. And so this, as I bring this up, Leilani can no longer, with her massive strength and power, bridge me over quite as effectively as she can if she's got it down here framing against me. Right? So I'm going to say, just in case we haven't gotten the arm up here, we want to strip it out. Right? In order to get to this first attack, we're going to have to come get this one of the arms up. Now there's a lot of ways to do that. If she's really tight down here, this can be really difficult to do, especially as I try to bring my own arm down low, right? So what I'm gonna do, instead of trying to bring my hand down as she's collecting this, is I'm gonna just use my thighs, right? So she's tight here, and I can feel which side. She can't be super tight on both sides all the time, and I'm gonna start to use my legs to bring her arm up. Right? So now instead of me trying to dig in underneath her with my hand or my forearm, I'm just going to bring my leg up until it exposes that. From here, I can block this out, and I can start to come under. Now as she's got her arm up a little bit, I can start to use my body. Right? So instead of trying like the kind of the traditional, I'm going to use my body to push her off, I prefer to stay low and heavy, and I prefer to use my body to start to expose those limbs. Once I get her arm up for this hidden arm choke, I'm going to come under, I'm going to collect her shoulder, and I've got her face kind of in a cross face, and here I'm going to come all the way across. So I don't start here on this head and arm with the arm like up here. I want to actually bring it all the way across her body, kind of smashing her face into her arm. From here, I should be able to come over with my chin and walk myself down.
I don't want to turn the back of my head towards her. This will actually give her an ability to slip out, and it'll make me fight with my neck, sorry, instead of my core. So I walk myself over, and I get to the side here. I've got her shoulder, but you'll see here that my shoulder is still on her face. So from this position, I can now start to post out, and I can drop my body down. And you should see her chin come out, right? And you should be able to feel her chin come out on that side. I'm not turning my head away. I'm not trying to put my head all the way on the mat. I'm actually kind of keeping my head positively engaged. Now from here, I can roll my hand, my palm flat to the mat. I can S-grip, I can do whatever I need to do. And I should be able to drive into her, straight down, and finish this from here. If I can't, I'm going to do exactly like we did in dismount. I'm going to bring this foot up and over. I'm going to come over the side. And again, I'm just going to drive up. This is not going to be a squeezing motion. It's going to be a driving the shoulder in motion. So again, from the top, right in this mount position, I'm going to use my body to strip her arm up over her head. As I come to this position, I collect. If I don't get this tight here, I can pick the head up again, straighten the arm. I want a good bite on the outside of her neck. Walk my head down until I get into this strong position. From here, palm down, based out, slide my body down, drive up for the finish. S-grip, gable grip, whatever you want to do on your grips here. Some people even come all the way to here. This tends to be more of a squeeze, so I prefer to finish here with this or with an S-grip. And then if I need to, I can come all the way to the side, drive up and murder her.
So as we're going for this arm triangle, oftentimes what will happen is we'll get in a spot where she knows I want this elbow up, and she's going to try to do her best to keep it down. We can find this really difficult to get to this arm triangle, and so one of the things that happens is as she brings her elbows down lower and lower, she can't protect her neck quite the same, right? So I can come under the neck here, usually pull their hair a little bit, that helps you. And then as she protects her elbows, right, as I'm trying to strip this up, it should leave space for me to get my fist in. I'm going to come in with my knuckles down, and then I'm going to rotate them up on this artery. I don't want to be on the trachea, I want to be on the artery. And now, again, you can see my shoulders on her face. If my shoulder's on her face, she'll probably still tap, but I don't need to do that, right? I'm going to come back down. Now as I roll my hand flat into her artery, I should be able to drive down with my shoulder. Again, I can finish this here, and it shouldn't be squeezing. It should be dropping my weight into that neck, into the space, right? So she's keeping her elbows low. This exposes her neck, right? She can't protect her elbows and her neck at the same time. Should give me an opportunity here to squeeze this in. Additionally, if she's fighting me as I come up under her elbow, we can come here, and now what's going to happen is she can even, she can be really difficult here, and I can come under the head, and I can actually give her space to bring that elbow out. So there's a couple ways that fighting for that arm triangle exposes that punch choke. All right, so we're fighting for this arm triangle. Again, all of these moves this week are off this arm triangle. We've exposed the arm, but she's making it really difficult to finish. Maybe she's got her elbow up, right? Maybe she's answering the phone. I'm having trouble finishing this. So what I can do from here is I can block the arm here with this hand, and I can start to slide out to get rid of the head. From here, I'm going to base my other foot out. I don't want to get rolled either direction. And I'm going to put my weight, sorry Leilon, I'm going to put my weight on her chest with my hip bone, right, into her ribs. From here, you'll see that her arm kind of rolls with me, and I can stop it with my head so she can't continue to get it. From here, I can reach up, grab her arm, and take this straight arm bar. So again, from the top, we're in here, we're fighting for this arm triangle. We've exposed one of the arms, we've got it up. When she's answering the phone, she's doing something to make this really challenging to get. So I'm going to block it, and I'm chopped behind the arm, and my elbow is on the mat, stopping her from moving it. Now I can just slip my elbow out. You see how that traps her arm? From here, I collect my own shoulder, and I keep my head on her arm until I slide out to where I want to be.
hips on her ribs, and now I should be able to finish the straight arm bar. All right, bonus move this week.
Bonus
move. We're gonna go for the same arm triangle, and she's gonna be really determined to answer the phone, whichever arm I get up here, right? So she's gonna lock this in. She's making sure that I don't get her head. So there's a couple things I can do here. The first being I can start to come on this side still, and now I can chalk, get under her shoulder. I want this wrist bent. So from here, I can start to drive in, and I can probably just drive in enough to wrist lock her right here. If she's got flexible wrists, this might not work, so I'm gonna grab the wrist instead, and I can start to do this same thing where I can turn up onto her side, and I can start to drive the wrist in. My preference here is actually to drive over the top and flatten this. I can even end up coming in and pushing with my hand. So this is where I usually get this shoulder lock here, is I'll grab the shoulder, she's determined here, so I block the wrist, I come up, once it's on the mat, she can't get it out, I come to the elbow and I start to push this down.